And then I'll lock the room once I've finished the opening. So welcome everyone to Peace and Presence. This is trauma-informed and restorative yoga with Ann Megas. So my name is Emma Reynolds and I'm a survivor advocate at Columbia Sexual Violence Response Office. First, I just want to thank you all for joining us today. We recognize that we are all navigating very different times right now, all of us with unique and challenging circumstances. So thank you for making time to do this. I'm going to begin by reviewing our community expectations. So just so you know, this is a confidential space, which basically means that what is shared here stays here. What's learned here leaves here. Encourage everyone and expect everyone to practice respect and also to practice compassion, both for self and for others. This can bring up things, so be kind to yourself, take care of yourselves if you need to. If you need to step away, that's absolutely fine. This is your time and your space to do this. If anyone would like to add any additional community agreements, you can put them in the chat box and I will read them out. Otherwise, I will continue. So what is sexual violence response at Columbia? So sexual violence response, also known as SVR, is a resource available to US students at Columbia and its affiliate institutions. We are a New York State Department of Health certified rape crisis center, which provides 24/7 trauma-informed confidential advocacy services, which can look like emotional support, crisis intervention, safety planning, assisting survivors with legal or criminal proceedings, campus adjudication, etc. Additionally, as part of our prevention efforts, our team facilitates trainings, educational programming, and outreach services. So this session is a part of our Peace and Presence series, which is a Columbia SVR initiative that introduces diverse, holistic wellness tools and techniques for survivors of trauma to experience and adapt to their own wellness needs. The program envisions a space where survivors feel held, understood without having to explain themselves, and given space to breathe and connect in profoundly spiritual and experiential ways. Through its multifaceted approach to mindfulness, movement, and nurturing of one's body, this program hopes to aid survivors to recognize and cherish their innate capacity to transcend trauma while being connected to a caring community of allies. So I mentioned this before, but I'm going to bring it up again, that if during the event you have questions, either for Ann, our facilitator, or for me as the host, please utilize the Q&A box to ask questions anonymously. You may also utilize the chat box, but just please note that the questions there will not be anonymous. The entire group will be able to see. This event is being recorded and we will provide the tape to you all so that you may continue on with your practice. Throughout this event, we encourage you to take care of yourself before, during, and beyond it. And if needed, you can speak with an SVR advocate by calling 212-854-HELP. That's 4357. I'm going to put this in the chat box so you can see it. And then following this event, I'll share an expanded list of resources and also check in and ask if you all are willing to do a survey about your experience. So I think we have everyone accounted for. Are attendees anonymous? There's a question here asking, are attendees anonymous? Yes, they are. Unless you decide to participate in the group chat with everyone, if you select that attendees and panelists can see, then your name will pop up. Otherwise, no one else can see each other right now. You're only seeing me as well as Anne. So just to address that question, so I am going to go ahead and lock the room, and also stop sharing my screen so that Anne can take over. Thank you, Anne.
Thanks, Emma. Hi, everybody. Thanks for sharing your Friday afternoon with me, with SVR folks. Maybe some of you were with me in prior sessions. I hope so. If so, welcome back. If this is your first time with me, welcome to a session that's going to be unlike any of the kind of sweaty, wring you out vinyasa classes that you might have been in. The intention here is one of establishing a sense of groundedness and peace with your own presence, actually. Just, interesting choice of words. Before we get started, I'm going to invite you to go and pick up a piece of paper and something to write on. It's not any big deal. Just any old scrap of paper will do. That would be really helpful. And Emma, can I ask you to take your image off the screen?
Absolutely.
Great.
Go ahead and stop video.
Thanks. Okay. Still doing something funny. That's better. There we go. So, and of course, please take advantage of this time for yourself to turn your phones off. Not because I said so, but because you deserve to have this chunk of uninterrupted space to drop into yourself, emotionally and physically and spiritually. So hopefully you have that. And phones done. So the first thing I'm going to invite you to do is find a seat. I'm seated in a chair right now. You can be seated in a chair or on a cushion, on the floor, on a yoga mat, on a sofa, wherever you're comfortable. As long as you feel a sense of groundedness. If you're sitting in a chair, as I am, my feet are right smack on the floor, grounded. My ankles are under my knees. My ears are above my shoulders, which are above my hips. So the sense of liftedness through the spine and grounding at the same time down through the sitting bones. Yoga is always moving in two directions. So at least. Ideally, it's moving in 360 degrees at the same time, but we'll talk more about that. So drop into that seated position, whatever you've chosen, and see if you can identify any particular areas of tightness. For a lot of people, it's in the hips. See if you can bring your brain into your hips for a moment. And then the jaw. And then establishing a sense of connectedness to your whole body, which we often lose during the course of a busy day. If your hands are resting on your legs in any way, perhaps you can feel the warmth of your hands transmitting that heat to where they touch your body. You can feel the weight that you're surrendering to the chair. You can feel your feet on the floor. With your eyes just half lidded so that they're still open. Allow your belly to get soft and take a couple of deep breaths in and out, and in and out. And I'm about to ring a meditation bowl one time. So now, if you're willing, we're going to mark how we're feeling right now. So pick up that paper and pen and just jot down in a word or two or three how you are feeling right now emotionally. What's your emotional scale right now? Are you feeling peaceful? Are you feeling resentful? Are you feeling a sense of anticipation? Are you feeling lonely? Are you feeling angry? Whatever it is, it's just for you to see, obviously. How are you feeling emotionally? Good. And then how are you feeling physically? Are you feeling exhausted or wide awake? Or are you experiencing pain in some way? And just jot that down in, again, a word or two or three. Great. Just set that aside. We'll come back to it at the end. And again, the whole purpose of us coming together as we are this afternoon, on this gorgeous sunny day, is to drop out of the busyness of our lives and to drop into our bodies. And the vehicle for doing that, as any of you who've practiced some yoga, is often and first and foremost the breath. So we're going to do that along with a little bit of movement. So we're seeking that balance in our lives between the busyness and the chaos that these crazy times have brought us, and the sense of that small, still space, or that small, still voice that each of us have inside of us, that guides us, that grounds us, but that is often hard to access. Good. So coming to seat, and I'm going to part of the time be in the chair, part of the time be in the floor. You do you. So pick your place and then draw your attention to your belly button. And we're going to take it in a circle: forward, side, back, and forward, side, back. And see if you can slow that down even more. And notice as you come side and back, there's a sense of wanting to exhale. And then as you start to open up and come to the side and forward, there's an opening of the lungs and a sense of openness and inhalation, closing and exhalation as you go back, opening as you go forward. Nice. And notice where you're physically feeling that. Maybe in the back of your hips, maybe right in your hip sockets, maybe somewhere else in your legs or your neck. Good. Check in with your neck. How is it doing? I can imagine that with the work that you're doing and the lives that we lead, a lot of our posture is like this. So we're going to do movement that an exercise physiologist taught me and that I've been practicing, doing a corrective move that really helps with postural muscles and getting rid of iPhone neck. Reverse direction if you haven't already done so. See if it feels any different this way. Good. Good. And now come to stillness. Notice if there's any shift in your physical energy at this point. And then begin to take a scan around the room. Maybe starting looking over to the right. Maybe there are windows there, maybe there are books or pictures. And as you do that, and one of the reasons we're doing this is to establish a sense of groundedness and safety in the space that we're practicing in, and to establish a relationship with the space that we're in. Part of it is to see how this space impacts us emotionally. So come back to that gaze. From the ceiling right down to the floor, looking perhaps at furniture, at lights, at pictures. Without judgment. It's like, I should have cleaned that up. Lots of thoughts and feelings and memories as you look at everything, and then begin to bring your gaze back towards center. There's my cat. And finally back towards center. And then take your gaze all the way over to the left. And this time, let's look right behind us. You can give yourself a little spinal twist at the same time. Look behind us, because it's always good to, again, establish that sense of, okay, I know exactly what my surroundings are. I feel safe. I feel grounded. And then glancing at everything that you see in that direction. So I notice on this side, my back feels different than it did on the first side. What do you notice that's different in this twist? If we were all together, as we will be again, I would ask some people to call out a thing or two that struck them emotionally in any way, in a positive way, in a sad way, because our surroundings do that to us. Our surroundings impact us. And as you leave this session, maybe you can think about that and think about what objects you want to have in your physical space. Good. So let's take that twist to the other side too, just to be equal. Drop your shoulders down and then gently come back to center. Let's stand up. I'll lose my chair for now. Oh, whoa, sorry. There we go. Okay. So if you feel it, come to standing. Bring your feet about hip width apart. And let your arms begin to swing from side to side. And then take your shoulders from side to side and let your opposite heel come up to increase that twist. You can bend your knees and give a little bounce in the center to just shake off the day, going into the weekend, shaking off the day. And then let your arms be like empty coat sleeves and swing with centrifugal force. Let your arms just cradle around you. Good. Nice. And then slowly let that come back to stillness. And Now I invite you to take in this vigorous bit of breath work, which is called the breath of joy. And we're going to inhale the arms up, exhale them out. So those are two. Inhale them up, inhale again as you bring them out. Inhale a third time. It's a lot of inhaling, right? And then soften your knees and exhale and vigorously sweep your arms down and then inhale again. So I'm going to demonstrate it. Inhale, 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 exhale. Inhale, 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 exhale. Last time. Roll slowly up. Bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your solar plexus. Let your eyes soften. Feel, if you're standing, feel your feet connection with the earth. Maybe feel your heart rate here. Feel a sense of just having shaken it off, shaken off the week, the day, creating some space for yourself, for self-care, which is presumably why you're here, to come to a safe space where you can drop into your physical and emotional self. Slowly take your hands away from your body. Nice. Good. Shake out your arms. Balance. We talked about balance at the beginning. So let's play with some balancing poses. I'm going to move this chair over a little bit. One of the nice things, I have a wall here. One of the nice things about a wall is it can be a really handy prop. And so can a chair. So I'm going to demonstrate half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. And I'm going to begin by standing against the wall. But first, I'm going to give you the exercise physiologist practice that was taught to me. So it involves standing against the wall. If you have a wall, you can do this on the floor. So if you don't have a wall handy, or if you do and you'd rather do this on the floor, lay down on the floor or up against the wall and bring your entire back into the wall. So that may mean taking your feet away from the baseboard, from the bottom of the wall, and then give yourself a big double chin and gently but firmly press your head back into the wall. 3, 2, 1, release. And let that natural curve of your spine return. Check in with your neck. Good. Let's do it again. So bring your shoulder blades together behind your back. Bring your small of the back to the wall or to the floor. Back of the head on the wall. Give yourself a double chin. Bring your chin down a bit. Inhale. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. Release. I find it interesting where that subtle movement radiates in the body. So do it again. Bring your entire back on the wall, shoulder blades together, and then inhale, press your head against the wall, chin down, double chin. Exhale, 3, 2, 1, release. It's very subtle. You may be going, I didn't feel anything, and that's okay. But you might want to try it on a regular basis and see if it allows you to open up a little, feel a little taller. Great. So that's thing one. So for Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose, we start by standing against the wall, or if this is part of your practice, I invite you to try and do it with a prop this time, because the whole point of this particular yoga is to invite a sense of support and gentleness and ease into our lives. We've got plenty of the other. We've got plenty of the chaos. We've got plenty of the striving and competitive stuff. Let's just break it down a little bit. And sometimes this is harder emotionally for people who are used to overachieving, which you undoubtedly are all overachievers to be where you are. So I have a little chair here. And first, I'm going to take my right foot and turn it out 90 degrees. I'm going to put my right hand on the chair. I'm going to bend into my right knee. And then I'm going to float my left leg up in the air, float my left arm up in the air. And I'm fully supported from the standpoint of balance, but I'm still receiving the benefit of the essence of this pose, which just looks kind of cool, right? So you can send your gaze down toward the floor, wiggle your toes. You can look forward. You can look up at that upraised hand. Good. And then to come down, bend that right knee and float back up to standing. Bring your feet together, arms down. Got another chair for the other side. You can also use a block if you like. If you want a little less support, step out with your left foot. Take your left hand out, bend into that left knee. Press off with your right leg and come down. I've got my foot caught on the other chair. There. Good. So I'm still using the wall for balance behind me and the block, or the arm extender, as I call them sometimes, so that I can easily reach the floor and keeping my torso level at the same time. Breathing here, changing the orientation of your gaze. Good. And then coming down. Take that block and come back. If you have a block, hang on to it. If you don't, you can have an imaginary ball or a shoe or a pair of glasses, because what we're going to do is open up and kind of reinvigorate and create range of motion in the upper body by passing something without crunching. So we're going to pass, I'm passing a block and staying upright and bending my arms to whatever extent I need to stay in an upright posture, in a completely erect, upright posture. And then take the item, visible or not, into the other hand and see if that makes a difference And you may notice that it's challenging to not scrunch up when you're doing this. And the reason we're doing this is to find stability, even when, and you can keep doing this, even when things are moving around us. There is that sense of groundedness, and your groundedness doesn't end at the bottom of your feet or at the top of your head. Your groundedness goes on and on. Your subtle body occupies the whole room. You know, when we spent time looking around at the whole room, we saw how our surroundings impact us internally. And also, we're going to continue to look at how internally we impact our surroundings. And we're going to do that by doing another standing balancing pose, tree pose. So, a pose you're probably all familiar with. So I want to break it down so that it's not, I either got it or I didn't get it. So begin in mountain pose, Tadasana, simple mountain pose. Find your breath here. Bring your shoulder blades together behind your back. Find your hip bones, your as-is bones here, and bring them up just a little higher. So it's a matter of tilting your pelvis a bit so that if it were filled with water, it wouldn't be spilling forward. Rather, it would just be set just right so that it didn't spill forward, back, or from one side to the other. Unless you have something that causes your pelvis to be in that kind of orientation, which is something that you work with. This is me longing to be in the same room with you because I love working with people who, and we all have some kind of imbalance or thing that we're dealing with, whether it's acute or chronic. And it's really fun to find that no matter what that condition is, there is yoga. There is access to yoga, and yoga has access to embracing whatever there is. So stand on 2 feet. I have one hand on a chair back. I'm going to take the opposite leg, the right leg for me, and turn my toe out, externally rotate my leg, and bring my heel right on top of my inner ankle bone, my left inner ankle bone. That's tree pose. So the knee has a tendency to want to come in. You want to continue to invite it out and open. Good. This is also tree pose. Pressing against the calf muscle. This is also tree pose. Palms pressing together, finding that strong midline, really reaching down through that standing leg, up through the crown of the head. And this is also tree pose. Finding your breath. And this is also tree pose. One of the things that you may know helps with finding your balance in tree pose is picking a drishti or an unmovable point of focus, so that when you are in balance, I'm looking at the stem of a pear, and then to come out of it and step down. Tree pose. Just check in with yourself again here and allow yourself to feel any feelings about how your balance was, how my voice is, how the noise is outside the building or inside the building. Noticing how much of your attention is outwardly focused and how much you can rein it in for now to an internally focused experience. Turn that other leg out, toes pointing out, and simply bring that heel just above the inside ankle bone. And now stiffen that standing leg as if you were balancing only on that leg. Lift up the ball of the left foot. So now you are balancing, right? And you can always come to the wall or the chair. There is no pass fail here. So continue to explore how tree is showing up for you on this side today. Continue to use your breath. Find that drishti, find that immovable point of focus. And when you're ready, come out of that. I'm going to sit back in my chair. And I want to leave you with, as we did in the other session earlier this week, with a tapping, instructive tapping session. Tapping is a body-mind practice that uses all the same points that acupuncture, acupressure, shiatsu use in order to induce a sense of peace and groundedness. Notice a theme here. And I find it very effective, and so have many people that I've taught it to, in times when there's a sense of ungroundedness, of upset, of anger, of confusion, decision making. And it's a very simple process. And there's an app for that. It's called the Tapping Solution. If you have that paper handy, you might want to write that down. May or may not be on the resource list, the Tapping Solution. I find it really, really helpful. So to begin, you take your dominant hand. I'm using my right hand, and just begin tapping it on the outside of your other hand. Come into your breath and think about something that's frustrating in your life right now. Not the biggest one, that one, the one or two levels down. Follow your breath. And know that you are well within your rights to be frustrated over this. It's a frustrating situation. And the next spot is at the inside of the eyebrow. So with one hand, you can say to yourself, I'm so frustrated by this. I wish this weren't happening. I feel like trapped in this situation. The outside of your eye. I can feel the frustration in my body and in my mind. It is disturbing and distracting to me. Under your eye, just on that bone under your eye. I'm disturbed and distracted by this situation. And now under your nose and above your lip. And I know that it will resolve in some way below your lip and above your chin. It doesn't mean that I don't feel frustrated, that I don't feel that I don't have the right to feel frustrated right now. And then find your collarbones, go an inch down. And I always end up using 2 hands here because it's handy. So this sense of frustration is annoying to me. It's distracting to me. And I wish there was a resolution to it. Last point is the top of your head. I'm confident that I will take the actions that I need to here to resolve this situation. We don't return to the hand, go back to the inside of your eyebrow. I've encountered situations not dissimilar from this before, and I've known how to find my way out of them outside of the eye. I'm strong and capable and feel like I absolutely know the right way. If I don't know it now, I will know it. Under your eye, I can begin to feel my body softening even as I remind myself of how strong and capable I am. Under your nose, I know that I don't have to figure this out alone. Above your chin, I know that I am supported in the way that I am usually supported below your collarbones. Whether it's friends and family or a divine source, there is a connection that is important to me in times like this. Back to the top of the head. And this too shall pass, and I will be stronger for it. And bring your hands back down to your legs. And go right down, if it's comfortable for you, right down to the floor in Shavasana. On your back, if it's comfortable, on your belly, if that feels more comfortable and safer. You can also come down into a child pose if you like. We're only going to be here for a good 5 minutes in Shavasana. So finding that restorative, relaxing pose. Taking your time, taking all the time you need to get into the traditional Savasana on your back with your arms at your sides. You can also put on some socks or a sweater or pull a blanket over you. Maybe you can feel me coming around and putting a blanket on you with a bit of loving care for you, for all that you shoulder, for all that you carry. and feeling the support of the floor, feeling the support of the floor and manifesting itself to support you in all that you do. Feeling the support of your ever-present breath. Feeling the support of your source of strength, your sources of strength. Relying on your inner knowing in all situations. Knowing that you are capable of handling whatever comes up, whatever's on your plate right now. Each breath brings you closer to an outcome that you're striving for. Not like magic, but that sense of balance amid the chaos, that sense of sourcing strength, that sense of realizing that you got this. Even if you can't see your way to a right action right now, breathing into the source for you. For the rest of our time in Shavasana, I'm going to ring this singing bowl. Allowing the vibrations of this bowl to wash over you. Noticing your breath. Noticing where and how you can liberate your breath just a little more. Feeling your breath opening your rib cage in 365-degree directions. It's not just your belly, it's not just your back, it's side body and everything in between. And at the same time, it's gentle and rhythmic. Listening to the bell fade out. Beginning to deepen your breath. Starting to wiggle your fingers and toes. Hugging your knees into your chest if you're on your back on the floor, if you're in a chair or on your stomach, just finding a way to let your legs move in a way that feels restorative and comfortable for you. If you're in Shavasana on the floor, go ahead and roll over to one side. Draw your knees up towards your chin, releasing your lower back. And see if you can, before you start to move to sit up, see if you can imagine that you had to cue every single muscle in your body. And with that imagination, go ahead and begin to press the floor away and bring yourself slowly and mindfully up into a comfortable seated position. When you get there, either because you remember, or maybe grab that piece of paper that you wrote down your emotional state and your physical state. Take a look at that. See how you're feeling now. See how it compares. Maybe there was no change. Maybe there was a big change. Maybe there was a small change. I like to close with a metta blessing that you can either repeat aloud or to yourself. Bring your palms together, the heels of your hands, the thumbs, and each finger pressing into each other. Sit up nice and tall. And this is a call and response. Metta blessing. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease. And then we take that blessing to, may you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. And then if you're feeling magnanimous, may all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be safe. May all beings live with ease. Namaste. Thank you so much. I also wanted to add in another resource, which I think is fantastic. You may have a yoga resource that you've used a lot. Down Dog is a really good yoga resource that can go anywhere from 5 minutes to a longer practice. and you can dial it in to specify what your intention is for the practice. So those two things, the tapping solution and down dog, are my two additions to what Emma might have on the resource sheet right now. And it would be helpful to me and to SVR folks if you wanted to give any feedback, any specific feedback about what worked or what didn't work about what I did, and then what worked or didn't work about the time or the, any of the other particulars of it. So thank you very much.
This is the QR code. We'll also follow up with a survey afterwards. So you can either do it here now, or please, if you have a moment, you can do it when we follow up. And I hope everyone has a good evening. Take care of yourselves. Thank you for joining. And I hope this left you in a better place.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.